Okay, guys, this is a set of problems over the distributor property, and I want to strongly recommend you take a look at the Khan Academy um, video that kind of explains this. Okay, it's a real good video. I think he did a real good job in explaining this visually. So I would take a quick look at that first. Okay, but I'll just show you without the pictures and without the way he did it. But the distributor property, it kind of helps you take a multiplication problem. And if you're not sure on the multiplication fact, you can kind of break things apart. So if I wanted to know 2 times 35, and I wanted to find the answer to this, but let's say I didn't know what 2 times 35 was, and numbers can get a lot more complicated. But let's say I knew what 2 times 30 was, and I knew what 2 times 5 was. Okay, what I can do is I can kind of take those two answers and add them together. Okay, if I had 2 times 35, I could think of that as the same thing as 2 times 30 plus 5. Okay, because 30 plus 5 is 35. And if I want to think of it that way, I could just take the 2 times 30 plus 5. I could think of that as taking 2 times 30 and adding that on to whatever 2 times 5 is. And that will give me the same answer as taking 2 times 35. And I know you're thinking, well, I can do 2 times 35 maybe. Okay, but when numbers get really complicated, this is kind of a pretty cool trick. Okay, 2 times 30 is 60. 2 times 5 is 10. I can just take 60 plus 10. And 60 plus 10 is 70. Okay, this is called the distributive property. Okay, we'll get into this a lot more detail later when we use variables. Okay, but for right now, just think of it as taking a number, breaking it apart into more simpler numbers, and then multiply to each of those individual numbers. Like 35 is 30 plus 5. We took 2 times 30, we took 2 times 5, and we added the answers up. Okay, let's do problem 6 together. If I wanted to take 4 times 82, and that 82 is kind of big, and I chose to break 82 down into 80 plus 2. Maybe I would decide to do that. Okay, 4 times 82 is the same thing as 4 times 80 plus 2. Okay, and if I wanted to do that, I could take 4 times 80, take 4 times 2, and add those two answers up together. Okay, 4 times 80. Okay, 8 times 4 is 32, and there's a 0 there. 320. 4 times 2 is 8. So I could take 320 plus 8 would be 328. Okay, so my final answer to 4 times 82 would be 328. But I decided to take 82 and break it down. I just thought it could be easier for you. Okay, why don't you try 7 on your own using the idea. Take that 32. Gosh, if it was me, I would take 32 and think of it as 30 plus 2. Let's see if you can take 9 times 32, break 32 down into 30 plus 2, and see if you can find the answer a little bit easier way. Okay, why don't you pause the video first, though, and try it on your own. Okay, so I'm going to think of 9 times 32 as 9 times 30 plus 2. I want to take 32 and break it apart into 30 plus 2. Because if I did that, I could take 9 times 30, I could take 9 times 2, and I could take those two answers and add them up together. Okay, 9 times 30 is 270. 9 times 2 is 18. I could add those together to be 288. Okay, I know I said this before, but I really strongly recommend you take a quick look at that other video from Khan Academy. It really explains this better, and I think you'll get something out of it. But please let me know if you have any problems with the Khan Academy lesson.